Good morning, team. I am just heading into the office. I have my coconut water in hand, which is absolute guaranteed to be the drink of summer this summer. And I'm just heading into the office, and for me, I am now an office girly. I am in the office 5 days a week, unless we have like a site to get to, a project to get to, then I'm obviously there. But this is transformational for me because I was always a work from home type of gal. I always thought I would be. And I don't think I've ever kind of explained the whole story because we have had so many issues with office space and moving around. But KO Estates was built in lockdown, like deep lockdown. There was no other choice. So we were all completely virtual. And it was that way for a good 2 years. I personally quite liked working remotely because I'm a very much like a deep work person. I need complete silence to get anything done. So working from home really suits me. But other people weren't at their best. And a lot of other people were saying, I prefer to be in the office. I just like the vibe. And Jake was like a big advocate of the office. So for me, I just thought working from home, it was more flexible. We could actually hire staff from the entire country because it didn't matter where everyone was. I also like the quiet, the kind of deep work, and also it saves an absolute fortune on rent. So I was kind of not sold on the idea. However, you have to pick your battles sometimes. And it was like 5v1 and I was very much outnumbered. So I was like, who am I to not give this a go? Let's do it. So that was kind of where we started, and that must have been, it was summer last year. So coming up to like a year ago, I was like, okay, let's do it. But because we're a growing team, we're scaling at such pace, we've never had an office before, we didn't know where we wanted to be, so many other reasons, we actually jumped into a co-working space because it was flexible. We kind of wanted to find the vibe of town. We were going into Manchester because a lot of the sites that we were selling were in Manchester, so it made sense because we thought, well, clients could come into the office, we could then take them around the properties, win. So that is what we did. We went into this co-working space and we viewed a few, and we were very upfront on the viewings because we're a sales team and they chat away all day. And it's like a co-working space. You're with other people, other companies, which is quite nice for a bit of an atmosphere. You would learn about what other people are doing, but at the same time, like, you don't want to annoy anyone. So on the viewings, we were like, we're a sales team. We're going to be chatting all day. Is that okay? Some places said no, which is absolutely fair enough. And this one place said yes. And it was actually our favourite anyway, because it was beautiful, like stunning offices, like content opportunities, just everything was an absolute win-win. So we signed up to a 6-month contract with them and jumped in. And honestly, immediately I was like, I see the value. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was so ready to hate on the whole concept of an office, and immediately it brought us a culture. Like, we jumped on Zoom every day. We were very good at communication, but we didn't get like the hustle. We didn't get the vibes. And as a sales team in particular, I think they really thrived off the fact that they were all sat in the same office. Not only that, but you learn so much more by overhearing others. So we had some junior people in the business at the time, and immediately it was kind of like a crash course for them because all day they could hear other people's pitches, they could hear how it was sold, what to say. So it was a massive like learning opportunity for me because I actually realised how important it was for the business, and nothing, like, I just would not turn back now at all. I'm in every single day, and anyone we hire, I make sure they can come in at least 4 days a week because I think it is so important. So we were getting on like a house on fire, had a lovely home, got to know the neighbours, the area. We were vibing, we were really starting to create a culture, going out for drinks. Like, it was just like we were a family. And then one day, one of the managers of the building pulled me aside and they were like, "Hi, Katie. Now this is a really, really difficult one for us, but we have had some complaints." Complaints? Sorry. Yeah, so basically, we've had multiple complaints about the noise. Not only the noise, but what you're saying on the phone seems to be the same all the time. And I was like, firstly, I didn't know we weren't allowed to make calls. We asked you at the start, before we signed contracts, like, we're a sales team, we were going to be on the phones, is that okay to do at our desks? And we got the absolute all clear. And they said, yeah, it's not necessarily the phone calls, but it's what you're saying is the same. And I was like, well, we sell the same properties. We have 50 of the same apartments we have to sell. So we are going to be telling every single client what the windows look like, what the views looks like. It is going to be the same conversation. We don't use scripts, but it's going to be very, very similar. I cannot apologize for that, because that is just genuinely what we are going to do, and I can't tell the team to change that, because that is just genuinely what we are going to do. Anyway, they made us sound like it was the Wolf of Wall Street in there, like we were absolutely raving, partying. We were very respectful people, and we loved our neighbours. We made friends with everyone, and I don't know who it was that complained. However, we were like, listen, we don't want to be somewhere where we're not wanted. You clearly don't want us here. What is the best solution? They were like, I'm glad you asked. We are going to rip up our agreement that we signed, the 6-month contract, and you need to find a new home in the next 2 weeks. And we were like, oh my gosh, brilliant. Okay, so we need to find a new home. And if anyone has tried to find an office in 2 weeks, I can tell you it's very, very difficult. So that was the end of the story in that office. Now, it was actually a beautiful office. Loved it. Just was not right for us, clearly. So that pushed us and forced us into finding another space. But what we didn't want to do was to fall into another co-working space, have the same problem, be kicked out again. So we needed to find our own private space. And I went everywhere. That week was quite stressful because I had to put so many different viewings in. We had 2 weeks notice and we had a lot to get done. But honestly, looking back now, it was a blessing in disguise. It has been the best thing for KO Estates and me personally, because I absolutely love where we are now. So we took the decision at that time to actually move away from Manchester. We kind of reviewed, okay, well, I wasn't even going into the office every single day of the week because the commute was so horrific. It was an hour there, an hour back, like 2 hours of the life you are not getting back. The traffic was grim. The weather was grim. It was Manchester. It was raining. It was just absolutely terrible. So we were like, why don't we just try and find something closer to home? Which was genuinely the best decision we ever made. And we ended up as a team settling on Altrincham. I would have done Wilmslow. Like, that would have just been like a walk away for me. However, because we weren't central in Manchester, we did have to think, okay, if we want to attract the best talent, we need to make sure it's accessible. We need to make sure it's easy to get to. And we need to make sure that it fits everyone in the team. And because most people in the team lived this direction anyway of Manchester, like South Manchester, it completely made sense. Altrincham, absolute win-win. You've got the bus station, the metro, the trains. It's not like just outside Manchester, very close to Wilmslow. So it was an absolute win-win. And I cannot tell you, I've really fallen in love with Altrincham. You have Gales, which is absolute 10 out of 10. If you've not tried it, definitely do. You've got so many nice like food spots. We're a walk away from like the town centre, so you can go out at lunch, you can meet clients for coffee. Absolute could not fault the location, and because it's much closer, I actually really enjoy going in. Honestly, being kicked out of that office was the best thing that could have ever happened to us, because I think if we weren't forced to leave, we would have never found here. So now we have our own private office, which is so good because we can like make the space our own. We want to brand it. We have like so many grand plans, but we've actually been halted in our tracks because the team is growing at such a pace. We know we're going to actually have to upgrade out of this office this year for sure, with like the higher plans that we have. So we're just kind of holding back on branding it, but step one was getting everyone into an office space that they really, really loved. And this is just the vibe. We can have music on, the sales team feel at ease, at comfort, they can say what they want, they have the space, the energy, and it's just been so nice to have our own space. So that period was a very stressful period, finding us a new office space, having 2 weeks to do it, but we made it happen. It forced us into a situation and we are much happier for it. I genuinely love the space, love the office. I'll take you for a little quick guided tour, but it's an absolute win. And I think if there's any business owners out there in any industry, and you kind of like, even solo entrepreneurs, and you're kind of weighing up the space, I could not advocate an office more. And coming from someone who did not want an office space, I feel like I've done the absolute 360, because I think in your own space at home, you've also not got the home work divide, so you end up working so much, you end up getting a bit like, you can almost get down in the dumps because you don't see anyone else, you just work, sleep, repeat. Whereas just getting outside, changing your frame of mind, having somewhere to go, having other people work around you is very, very motivating. You're going to learn so much from the process. Being around other people, it fuels your creativity, fuels your drive, allows you to get steps, just kind of opens your mind up, creates a serious culture. I would not build a business at all without an office space anymore. Honestly, I am an absolute convert, which is absolutely wild. But yeah, I'm sure our homes will move over the years. We're very, very happy here, but I do know we are definitely going to have to change again soon, but I'm gonna roll with it. This one, I am glad I didn't fight the battle on, and I'm glad I gave it a go, because I'm an absolute convert, office all the way. And even if you're a solopreneur, go and try a co-working space for a couple of days a week. I would absolutely encourage it. Or even just getting out to a coffee shop. Like, invest in you, invest in yourself, invest in your team. It's so easy to spend this money on marketing or anywhere else but yourself. But getting yourself in the best headspace and in the best work environment is going to put you in the best place to succeed. Put your own oxygen mask on first so that you can support the rest of the business. But yeah, I was aware that happened kind of like a couple of months ago, but I've not filled you in on everything that's going on. So let's go and take a walk around the office, and cheers to the day.